Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a lovely day. Today I thought I would bring you an update to my no-buy since the first 3 months, the first quarter is complete. I did an update at the end of January, but I've not done one since then. So I thought we would dive in and go through where I am at with each of the categories. If you are new here and you've not seen one of my videos on no buys before, then it will make more sense if you go back and watch the first part, which I will leave up above here, because this year I'm doing my no buy slightly differently. It's my third year doing it and each year I've done it slightly different. This year I'm using an envelope system, but not a cash envelope system. I call it a cashless envelope system because it's very rare that I actually have cash to spend. I pretty much do everything from card now, and I think that's true of a lot of us. So the cash envelope system is kind of not as relevant now as it has been in the past, so I thought I'd do a little twist on it. So watch my previous videos if you don't know what I'm on about, and then this will make more sense, and then come back to this one. But if you've seen one of these videos before and you are ready to dive in and see what I've been spending and what I've been saving, then let's jump right into it. You're going to be noisy right now, aren't you, bunnies? Let's do personal first this time. I feel like personal's more exciting this time round ever so slightly. However, the setup for April is very simple, so we'll do that first. And we will begin with the classic car. The car is my most important thing after all my bills and expenses have gone out, because I need to make sure I keep my car running. So where we left off at the end of January, start of February, we had £266.41 in the pot for car. Now, just a reminder, this isn't cash. I've not got the cash here in the envelope. It is just left in one of my bank accounts, ready to be used when I need it for that particular area. It's really just about making sure I know that money is there and I've kind of accounted for it before I need to spend that money. So in February, we spent £91.34 on petrol, so you can see that here. I've just made a note of that. Petrol prices going up has been a joy, so we spent a little bit more on petrol in February, even though February is a slightly shorter month. But that did mean I had 175.07 to carry over into March. Now, at some point, I've made a bit of a mistake. My brain has not kept up with my own plans, because at the end of February going into March, I only put in £130 when I said I was going to put a minimum of 150 in to try and keep this stacked up. For some reason I forgot that, and I then didn't go back and change it because I'd accounted for other money in other places and I didn't want to have to do it all over again. So that meant I had £305.07 in March, ready to go for the month of March. And I needed to build that up because I knew I had my MOT coming in March. And whilst I was hoping it wasn't going to be expensive, because I spent over £1,000 on repairs on my car last year, I was hoping everything would be fine. I still wanted to have a little bit of leeway, but I also was very aware that £300 was nowhere near the £1,000 I spent last year. But I think if I had to spend another £1,000 on my car in repairs, I would be really upset, because my car is only worth about £1,500 now. So it's reaching the end of its time. I've mentioned it before. If it's going to get to the point where it's going to cost me more than it's worth to keep it going, I might as well just start again and get a new car. So what did I say? We had 305.07 at the start of March. £90.61 was spent on petrol. And then my MOT was £45. No repairs required. So it was just that £45. So it actually ended up being a much cheaper month than I thought it was going to be, meaning I had 169.46 to carry over, which I have got just written down here. And then going into April, I've put in another £200, giving me 369.46 to play with in April. Now, I know that my car insurance is due to come out in April, and I pay for that for the whole year because it is slightly cheaper to pay for the whole year than to pay individual months. So I wanted to make sure I will be covered for that. That seems about right for the month. Unless petrol takes another massive increase in price, I should just about be okay. But then this will be left quite low again. And then I want to build it up by June, which is when my service will be due. And that's a little bit more expensive. So I need to be prepared for that. But so far so good in the car envelope. We have then got wardrobe up next, which is still just surviving on that original £100 sort of treat money I gave myself at the very start of the year in January. And I did actually buy a couple of bits and pieces for my wardrobe in March. So I'll show you here. I got a pink blouse and a blazer, which in total came to £29.50. So I have £70.50 left to carry over, which just stands steady at £70.50 because I'm not putting any more money into wardrobe. Whilst I've still got that just over £70 there, I don't need to top it up anymore. So that is still just sat nice and easy at £0 going in this month. And if I wish to buy anything else for my wardrobe, it's going to come out of that £70 there. Everybody's favourite, the personal household envelope, is standing strong at just £0 throughout. Just a reminder that this envelope with the zeros on, the personal one, is kind of like for decorative things, basically frivolous things for the house. If I see something and I think I'd really like that for the house, but it's not an essential, that's what this envelope is for. We do have a family household envelope, which is if we need something for the house, if anything needs repairing, anything like that, sort of more serious, real purchases, not just me being a little bit frivolous. So this, I'm quite proud of this, that this is standing at £0. So that's good. Okay, let's talk about beauty next. So I can't remember where we left off. It got a bit complicated, didn't it, in beauty? Let me have a look. Right, so I gave myself the money in January to buy moisturiser. And then if I remember correctly, I went on the website, I hadn't given myself enough to buy stuff that got me the free delivery, and I was being a bit picky about that I wanted the free delivery because it was offered. So I decided I'd put off buying in January, gave myself a little bit more money to spend into February, so then I could go ahead and buy my moisturiser and then maybe get something else that I needed that I could just keep in stock to get the free delivery, if that makes sense. However, I then totally changed my mind. I went online to Glossier and I didn't buy their £18 moisturiser simply because I didn't feel like it was helping my skin at the moment. I don't know if there's something in it, but I've mentioned so many times my skin's been breaking out like crazy since I came off the pill. And so I decided I was going to try something a little bit different. So I got my Glossier powder as normal because that had then started to run low and I didn't have any in stock, and I bought 2 of those so I could get the free delivery. So that I spent £36 on, but then I decided to go completely different on the moisturiser, and I've bought a tea tree one because apparently that's really meant to help with anything that's bacterial to do with your skin. I know mine's probably, oh, the sun just came out. I know mine's probably hormonal, but I'm willing to give it a shot. I've heard tea tree is really, really good. So I've got myself a tea tree moisturiser, which was actually only $6.99, which is a lot cheaper. So if that works better than the Glossier one and it's like a third of the price, then that's a win altogether. Which cost me $42.99 in February out of my £45, which gave me £2.01 to roll over into March. And then between February and March, I gave myself £100 just because I knew that I was going to get my highlights redone at the very beginning of March. And so I would need a bit of money to do that. So I went and got that done. That cost £89. And that was the only thing beauty related I bought in March. So then that takes us to £13.01 to carry over into April, and I haven't actually put any money designated to this envelope going from March and into April, so it's just that £13. But honestly, I don't predict that I'll buy anything. At best, I might buy a new set of my nails, which are £4.50, so I can cover that, but there's no other makeup I need, there's no skincare stuff I need, I don't even need my shampoo and conditioner. So for April, I think I will be fine just with that little £13 sat there, and I don't need to build that up because I'm not planning on needing sort of a supply of money. I feel like I can plan just the month ahead for what I'm going to spend on beauty, so that's that one. Then we have gifts. So where did we leave off? I had £160 in here at the start of February because it's my husband's birthday in February, so I knew I would need a little bit of money to spend. I've mentioned it before, that's pretty much the only gifting I have to buy from my own money, because any gifts for anyone other than each other we buy out of our joint account, so I've got a family gifting envelope as well. So once his birthday's out of the way, which was February, all I then have to do is save up for his Christmas present in terms of in my personal money, because we don't buy gifts for anniversaries, or we didn't buy gifts for Valentine's and things like that. We don't do that. So that's where we're at with that. So I bought his gifts, which he actually buys for himself, so I can just say, spend this much on your gift and make up what you want to that amount for yourself. If you can hear my bunnies in the background, they're causing trouble. Sebby. Anyway, and he does the same for me, so we pretty much just sort of agree that for birthdays and Christmas we'll spend £100 on each other. That seems reasonable. It's an amount of money where you can get something nice for it. Those bunnies are really going to town. Stop it. Bear with. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so we decided that around about £100 was enough to spend on each other, and then we just sort of choose our gifts and even order them for ourselves, and then just kind of give it to the other person to wrap if they want to, or whatever. So he had £100 for his gift, and then I also paid for us to have a meal, which was £43. So we had £143 altogether, which gave 17 left to roll over into March, and then again into April, because after that I've not put any money in here. I do need to start building it up for Christmas, but at the moment I've had other places where I've wanted to prioritise putting my money, and so for now that's standing quite low. So I can either start to put smaller amounts in, like £20 a month up until Christmas, or I can wait until a bit later in the year and put bigger chunks in, as long as I've remembered to account for those. But after June, for example, there is nothing else that I need to do for my car. You know, MOT, service, insurance and tax will all be done by then. They are all in the first half of the year. So then that gives me a little bit more money left over at the end of the year. So assuming nothing goes wrong with my car, then I should have a little bit more money left towards the end of the year to top this up. So I can play it either way. And then the sort of last one, other than leftover money, is entertainment, which, oh, I've actually got stuff to talk about for this one. So entertainment can be anything like hobbies, things to enjoy at home, or going out places, experiences that are just for me. So not where my husband's involved, not where we're doing something together. Again, I've got a separate family one for things that we do together. So when I left you, we had nothing in January because I figured nothing would happen in January. And I was actually wrong, but I had cash that I'd been given for Christmas where I was able to use that on the thing that happened in January. I can't even remember what it was, but I remember talking about it in the first update. So then I put £30 in for February just to make sure if anything came up, then I would have something to do. And me and a few girlfriends, we decided to book in a few things to meet up and get out and do stuff. So we've booked something in for February, something in for March, and then something in for May, so for the coming few months, and something in for June. So we've got things coming up, nothing like really extravagant, but just opportunities to get out, see each other, enjoy some time together and do something a little bit different. So in February, I went for afternoon tea with one of my girlfriends. That was £15 each, so of the £30, I spent £15. It was absolutely delicious. I should put a photo up if I can find one and pop it on, just so you can see it. It was really cute. And as far as afternoon tea goes, that was actually, I thought, reasonably priced, because I've been to some that are in sort of more country manners, really nice places, and you can spend over £30 on afternoon tea, and I'm sure even above if you go to anywhere a bit more extravagant. So that gave £15 to carry over from the £30 I put in for February. And then I thought I'd give it a bit of an injection at the end of February going into March, because we'd planned that first thing and I knew there was something else coming up, and we would probably plan in a few other things as well. So I put in £150, which with the 15 carried over gave £165. And then in March, all of us, we went out and did a murder mystery dinner, which was really quite cool. We'd done a murder mystery dinner just before lockdown, the Christmas before lockdown of 2020, so 2019 was the last time we did one, and we'd really enjoyed that, so we went out again. It was a 3-course meal, and the actors come and like stage a murder mystery and you have to solve it, and that was £45, which gave me 120 to carry over. And then going into April, I have injected £180, which was quite a substantial amount of that 380 I have of my personal income left over after I contribute to the joint account, and then I pay my individual bills like my contact lenses and my phone and things like that. This was just my free to spend leftover money. So we are now at £300. I need to start building this up very quickly because I have booked myself a little trip. Me and one of my girlfriends, we have booked a cruise for July, and we are going to go to Norway, which I'm so super excited about because I haven't done a lot of varied traveling. So all the times I've traveled, gone on holiday abroad, with the exception of a school trip to France, has been with my parents or with my parents and my husband, or when he was my fiance or even my boyfriend at the time. And we always went to the US or Canada. We made it kind of a mission that we wanted to go to all the states in the US. And over the course of 10 trips, 10 summers, we actually did it. We went to all 50 states. We did a little bit of the east of Canada, a little bit of the west of Canada, but not loads. And then since 2018, that was the last time I went on holiday. Not even in this country, just at all. I haven't been on holiday, even in the UK, since 2018. So I decided I was due a little trip, and I've never been on a holiday with a friend, and we both wanted to do it, and so we decided we would just go for it. So after like the cost of the cruise and the excursions, and then we want to take a little bit of spending money, all in all I don't think it was that bad a price, but I think I will need about £1,000. So there's 300 in here at the minute. I have got to do a serious top up. Now I booked it knowing I could technically afford it because I've got plenty to cover that in my savings if I wanted to. I don't think I'll need to dip into my savings at all to pay for it. I think I will be absolutely fine. But I didn't book it like recklessly, knowing I was waiting on money coming in to be able to pay for it. So it's absolutely fine. I don't think I'll have any problem paying it off and then getting some spending money to take. I'm super excited, and that's kind of going to be my summer holiday, my little trip away. It's just for a week. Really looking forward to that. So in order to prove to myself that I can save for that, I'm going to need to be sensible with the rest of my money up until that point. So we'll do my best with that. The only other thing I've got to bear in mind, which kind of will already cover it, but I don't talk about it very much, is the money I make from YouTube, which granted is not a lot at all, but I haven't really spent that money. It's in a separate bank account, and so each month it just adds a little bit. I know in that account there is enough also to pay for this trip. So if I didn't make this in time, I could just take the money out of that account, and once I've worked out like the tax that will need to be paid for this financial year, I can just say that that's my treat for doing my work towards YouTube. My treat is to then go on this cruise. So there's a couple of different ways I could pay for this. I'm not worried that I've not got enough to do it. It's just, it would be quite cool if I could do it using just my main income, using this system. It's almost like I'm setting myself a bit of a challenge, but I have got to be sensible because, as I said, I have also got like my car service and stuff, so just to be ready for all of that. But because of that, that was all of my money was spent over car and entertainment, which is interesting. But because of that, that means there is no money left over to go into the savings or the other envelope for this month, which is bad because I only put some in January and February. I didn't then put anything in March, and I am still just sat there at £75 in April. So there is that to be aware of. But those are my envelopes as far as it goes. It's still really successful. So really happy with my progress so far. So now let's do the family envelopes, which there are not as many of. The big one is grocery. This takes up most of our leftover income after, you know, mortgage and all our other bills have gone out. And I have budgeted £65 a week for that. That has been very tight. Things seem to be increasing in price all the time. I think I might have to stretch that to maybe 70 or 75. But at the minute I'm managing, it's just not leaving much joy in terms of food. And, you know, if you want to enjoy food, enjoy cooking, experiment, you know, it doesn't leave a lot of wiggle room for that. There is still the option that I change supermarkets and go for a cheaper one. At the minute we use Asda or Tesco, and that's not expensive, but it's also not the cheapest. Like, we have top tier, I suppose, supermarkets in the UK. That's like your Waitrose, that's really expensive in comparison to others. And then you've just got your general middle tier, which would be like Tesco, Asda, Morrison's. Sainsbury's is kind of up there a little bit, the Co-op's up there a little bit. But then right down at the bottom, you've got like your Aldi and Lidl, which are much cheaper. People that shop there generally say they save a lot more money. We could switch to a cheaper one. It's just a lot more convenient for us to use the ones we're using. So, you know, we'll have to see how we get along. I'm sure if I changed to using, say, Aldi, I would make it in under £65 each week. So something to consider. But in February, I gave myself £260 because, again, 4 weeks in February, or 4 Fridays, we do our shop on Fridays. So 4 lots of 65 is 260, plus I had £5.67 left over from underspending in January, which gave me 265.67 to spend. And our 4 shops, well, you can see them if I put them here. So our 4 shops in February were, I've got to read backwards now, 57.76, 80.44, 44.10 and 77.20 if I'm reading that correctly. So those were our weekly grocery shops. So you can see one of them was much higher, the £80 one. That's because we had a week off work, so we did buy in more food that would be, you know, fun to cook with, or even treat food to have during that week. That's why that one was more expensive. And that came in at £259.50, so just 50 pence under budget. But you've got to remember, I did have that £5.67 rolling over from the previous month, so that meant we had rollover of £6.17 into March. And then in March, here's our breakdown for March. So 56.18 and then 89.89. We just had a really expensive one, and I think that's because I'd been being so good and I was using up a lot of what we had. We suddenly just needed to stock up a little bit, make sure we had stuff, and I took advantage of some offers that would serve us better and be better value in the long run. So for example, if we needed rice and they were buy one get one half price, or 2 for this amount of money, I would just buy 2 and then I've got another one for another meal. And so that one was sort of a bit of a stock up week. And then I had 49.81 and 67.84, which did come in slightly over budget at 263.72. But when you take into account the money that had rolled over, I didn't sort of exceed what the envelope had available. But now I do only have £2.45 rolling over into April. Now, there's more Fridays in April. There are 5 Fridays in April, meaning I needed 5 lots of £65. And then somewhere along the way, I promise, I do actually have a maths degree, so I don't know why my brain can't do numbers at the moment. But I put £300 in, which by my calculating is 5 lots of 60. So I think I might have ever so slightly shot myself in the foot with this one. We're going to have to try and have a really, really cheap week at some point in April, because I've got 302.45 to serve 5 weeks. So April's going to be a tough month. But again, I'd already done it, and then I'd already done all the other envelopes, and I didn't want to have to change how much money I'd put in here. So I just left it. So we'll see how that goes. Another challenge for the month of April. Okay, let's do family experiences next. So nothing exciting happened in January or February actually. But in January, as I said in my last video, I put in £40, but I didn't spend it. I then put in £100 at the start of February to give us £140 if we wanted to go out in February. We didn't. I then put another £100 in at the start of March to give us £240 to spend in March, but we only ended up spending £69.64, which was bowling. We went out with my husband's brother and his girlfriend, and then afterwards we went for a meal, so that came to £69.64 altogether. So I had £170.36 to carry over, and then basically this month in the family spending, what I had left over was £30, so I popped £30 in here. So we've got £200 and 36 pence in this for April. And I just wanted to have a little bit of money in there should we decide to go out together. I'm not entirely sure. Now I've booked my holiday for the summer. I'm not sure that we'll necessarily go on a big trip, but we might have like a weekend away or a few days away in the summer or something. So it's nice to have like a little bit of money building up in there should we decide to do that. Then we will do household next. So in January, I mentioned I put £50 in, but I spent a bit on bunnies, which means we had £27 to carry over. Then I put in £50 at the start of February to give us £77. I didn't spend any in February. So February, household-wise, was a good month, no spending there. And then at the start of March, I put in £110. I can't remember why it was 110. There must have been a reason, but for some reason I put in 110, which gave me 187 to play with. And in March, this one's really cute. I spent £3.99 on just like this little organiser to sort out some stuff that was in the fridge because we don't really have an organisation system in our fridge, and I found a way of just stacking some things into this small bin that made for more space in the fridge. I didn't go all out and sort of do my whole fridge and label it and all of that. I just wanted one storage thing just to add like a compartment really, and that did the job. So that gave me 183.01 to carry over, and then I've injected £200 into the household one to give us 383.01, and that's because I said it in my last video, I really want to start to build up some sort of emergency fund in the household envelope, just so if anything does go wrong, we can try to deal with it as best we can without having to touch any of our savings. Granted, it depends on how much that costs, but it would be nice to know we are a little bit covered. Then we have family gifting. So I put £30 in at the start of January, but we had no outgoings in gifting in January. Then we had another £30 in, which gave us £60 to spend in February. Again, didn't spend any. The only thing that was to spend on was my husband's birthday, and as I mentioned, I do that out of my personal money rather than family money. And then I put in another £60 from February to March, so that gave us £120 to spend in March. And in March, we had Mother's Day. So we bought a gift for my mum, my gran, and my husband's mum. I've done a bit of a breakdown, but I've not really itemised what everything was. But altogether, Mother's Day cost me £70.99. So I had 49.01 to carry over. We don't have any gifting stuff that we have foreseen for April. There's nothing on the calendar that I need to worry about. So unless someone has like an event, then I can't see any major expenses in that area. So that 49.01 that's rolled over should be enough in case anything just pops up. So that was that. So I didn't put anything extra in April. It was what had just rolled over from previous months, which meant the last but not least, savings did not get anything this month. So that's still standing strong at 240. But as I've mentioned, I already contribute to separate savings. This is just a bit of a build up of money in our joint account should we need or even want anything. But because I'm designating money to other places, and as you can see, money is starting to roll over from one month to the next, so that money is sat there, it's in the same account as this money, it's all in one big pot really. But I'm not concerned that we're not building this up because I am already building up savings elsewhere. This is just like an added bonus. So that's it for the first quarter. I'm feeling really quite successful about the no buy so far. I feel like I'm continuing the good habits I've learned over the last 2 years, but it's also interesting trying to think ahead and plan for the money you're going to spend. Like for example, I've got to check my appointments coming up, like for example my hair. If I know I've got my hair appointment coming up, trying to remember to account for that. And then that really does help with other purchases, because if I think, oh, I've got a little bit of money in that area, but I know my hair's coming up, then I think, well, I'm already going to spend quite a bit there. Maybe I don't want to spend money elsewhere, rather than ending up spending a little bit of money and then remembering you've got an appointment, so spending even more money, and it really just starting to build up that you've spent loads of money that you didn't plan to because you didn't think ahead and sort of track it ahead of time. So I'll leave this one here. I hope all of your no buys and low buys are going really, really well. Remember to update me down in the comments below. As always, if you want to check out any of my other no buy content, I will leave one of my no buy playlists here, and if you're not yet subscribed, you can subscribe by clicking here. Remember to like the video, and I will see you again in the next one. Until then, take care, bye!